Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Thursday edition of the Computer America Show. Ben and I are here. We're going to be talking to GUS Communications about products that they make for the physically challenged, and also something very interesting called Show Me QR, which allows you to go beyond what normal QR codes do. Very interesting. Of course, Hour 2, Computer Technology News, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We'll be starting in less than a minute.
One minute until showtime.
How do I stop that?
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live. It's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. Ben?
There we go. And I'm your co-host Ben. The sound keeps cutting out for a minute there. I didn't know if you finished your.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Hi.
Can you hear me now? Fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty
Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
good. All right.
All right. Well, welcome into a Thursday edition of the Computer America Show, and I've got something turned on which I cannot figure out. If the window is not addressed, it's making a sound, and I'm not sure exactly where. I'm looking in the preferences. I don't see any place where it allows me to change that. Very, very.
What's making the noise?
When they type to me, it makes a little sound, to get my attention, And for some reason, I'm not finding where that is. I'm going to the Jatzilla preferences, and I'm looking in there. I say alert for channel stock. Maybe that's it. I'll turn that off. Hopefully that will.
Well, I mean, on mine, I don't know where the drop-down menu for you is, but it's under options, and then you can, beep when mentioned and all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, I'll figure.
Usually, whenever you're trying to find an option, it's under the options.
Okay.
Generally.
Yeah. I'm not saying. I'm saying user commands, options. I'm not finding it. I'll figure it out. Well, anyway, as I said, in Hour 2, we're going to have computer and technology news. They're brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And let's see, what else? We have no, it's Thursday night, so we don't have our chat, our buddy list, our show reminder winner of the week. That'll be tomorrow night, of course. Hopefully, all of you have your entries in. Oh, I know, numbers to call. If you have a comment or a question for our guest tonight, we certainly would love to hear from you. You can call us at the 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on, get you through. Email is live, L-I-V-E, at computeramerica.com. You can also join us in our live interactive IRC chat room from our homepage at computeramerica.com. You'll see it says chat and live video. Just click on that. That asks you for a nickname. That's a name you'll be known by when you go in there. It'll ask you for a captcha code that's either a number or a couple of words. That just proves that you're a live human being, not a robot. Then click the connect button, and your browser will move you into our IRC live chat room. We also have some clients there. There's a button there that you can click. So if you want to format the chat room to be more visually pleasing, it makes its own window. It just looks nicer. You can do that, but it's completely optional. But we suggest that you do it. Also, sharing that page is our live Computer America video streaming page. Where you can watch us, not only listen to the show, but you can actually watch the show. Sometimes we'll do some screen interactions, and so it just the guests, you can see them, and you can kind of interact with them there as well. That said, I think we're all set and ready to go. Anything else that you want to mention before we get started, Ben?
No, I think we're good to go.
Okay. Well, our guest tonight is from a company called GUS Communications Devices, and they have been developing speech and AAC software solutions for people with speech and language impairments since 1992. Currently,
right.
GCD offers the Internet's largest selection of speech AAC software and devices. Now, wait to hear about Talk Tablet that actually speaks for you and works with the iPad and iPhone or actually any smart device. And also we'll be talking about Show Me QR. Now joining us is Gordon Harris. Gordon is the CEO of GUS Communication Devices. Gordon, welcome to Computer America. How are you tonight, sir?
Very well. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Ben, for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, really interesting. Now you have been in the assistive technology sector for more than 20 years. How did this company get started?
Well, I think more challenging is how to stay in business in software for 22 years.
Yeah, really.
But it actually started, it wasn't intended. It started off as I had just a simple computer consulting business 23 years ago. And for our Christmas party, I thought we'd create something that would greet guests as they came to the party. That was something a little different, a little novel. And we found on the back of a computer magazine or one of these magazines a voice recognition box, a little piece of hardware from a company, I think it was $75. And it was a voice recognition box. You plugged a microphone in it, and it would recognize yes and no, and that was it. And
well, how much more do you how much more do you need?
Yeah, no, really, it comes down to yes and no.
That's pretty much it,
And so we built this little robot out of wood, and we put a remote control truck in the base of it. We put a suit and tie on it, and we built a laptop computer holder on the top, and we hid the voice recognition beside its suit jacket. And really, we wrote a basic program, piece of software, that as people came in the door, it would simply say something like, "Would you like to talk to me, yes or no?" And you would say yes. And then it would respond with questions on the screen. So using a combination of actually speaking to it and it understanding yes and no, and some kind of a clever banter we wrote in the script, it had a kind of a personality, or it could make you feel like it had a personality. And it was a very popular thing at the party, and everybody got a real big kick out of it. We thought that was the end of it. Well, then we got a call from the newspaper, a couple of different newspapers, and asked if they could come over and see this GUS robot. Now, the GUS and GUS robot, the GUS, it stands for Gordon's Ultimate Salesman. and that's all it was. There's no method behind this robot at all. It's purely just for fun, for a party. And anyway, it ended up on the front page of the newspapers. And after that, we received a phone call from the Disney company, who were in Vancouver, BC at the time, filming a movie called Still Not Quite Human. And it was a modern-day takeoff of Pinocchio, for that matter, starring Alan Thicke, the father of Robin Thicke, who has that Blurred Line song out right now. And so they gave it a speaking part in that movie, and which attracted more attention. And of course, in the movie, it only had to say yes or no, thank goodness. And not long after that, we were approached with a research grant to develop these into commercial robots. So instead of having a kind of a silly looking suit and tie and so on, they started looking a little more like the Jetsons. And so the robots took on a different appearance, same function, and then they were picked up by Chrysler and Abbott Pharmaceuticals and large Fortune 500 companies to use them at their trade shows to explain about cars or drugs or whatever they were doing for. And that's really how it's.
All right. So, and again, at GUS Communication Devices, and you do make a wide variety of these products, and you've expanded obviously over the year because you make quite a variety of them, and although
well, that's true.
Yeah, I mean when you go to your
sorry, go ahead.
When you go to the GUS Communication Devices homepage, you have the communicator slate. You got the talk. You have the Easy Speech. You have Speech Pro. You have quite a number of these products that allows you to have computer access devices and support. But what we're going to focus tonight here, primarily, I think, are on two of the products that you make, and that is something called Show Me QR, which I think is really amazing, and also Talk Tablet, which I understand is actually your flagship product that actually speaks for you, and you can use an iPad or an iPhone or any smart, your any smart device, Android, and it's extremely well laid out. But I think what we'll do is probably start off with the Show Me QR product, and then we'll
Sure.
go with the Talk Tablet. Now, most of us understand what QR codes. You see them, in stores and what have you, and it's a little boxy.
Right.
But basically, all those do when you, if you use your smart device to look at one, you scan it and it just launches your browser and you go to a website, and that's pretty much it. You have to be connected to the internet, and so if you see it, it's usually an ad for a product, and again, it just takes you to the website, so you don't have to type in www. whatever, and the URL. You just scan the code.
Right.
Your QR codes are not like that. They are completely different.
They are not like that.
No, they look similar, except they're like I guess on their side, rotated a little bit, and they have a circle around them, and they do something completely different. And really, it's a very unusual way for you to provide support. And it doesn't have to be you; it can be anybody who has this. So why don't you give us an overview of what Show Me QR actually does?
Well, what's Show Me QR? It's a very, very simple concept, and this is what it does. Let's suppose, Craig, I wanted to show you how to make a cappuccino, and let's suppose we're standing in front of a cappuccino machine that you've never seen before, and I need to show you how to make a cappuccino. Now, the first thing I would do, using the Show Me QR app on my phone or my tablet or Android or whatever, I film myself or somebody else making the cappuccino. It's that simple. So I film, that's like your instructional video. This is how you do it.
All right.
And then if I want, I can add text instructions too if I want to supplement it with text as well. This is when the fun part starts. This video and those text instructions, if you want to, it uploads that, all that content to our cloud servers. It takes better part of 30 seconds, and it creates a unique Show Me QR code, which looks like a QR code, but it's different. It creates a Show Me QR code and sends it back to your phone and saves it in your photo album. Now from there you can print it off if you want, or you can email it to somebody or whatever you want to do with it. But let's stick with our cappuccino example. So from my phone, I have this new code, and it looks like a QR code, but it has a colored ring around it, and it says right below it, must open with Show Me QR app, and above it, it will say make a coffee or whatever you want. So I take that code, printed code, it's only an inch by an inch, and I tape it, if I want, to the side of the cappuccino machine. Now you, as my trainee, for example, whether I'm there or not now does not matter. You, using your smartphone or tablet, you are running what's called the Show Me QR scanner app. And you simply hold your smartphone up to that Show Me QR code that's sticking on the side of that machine, and up pops the video and text instructions to show you how to do it, whether I'm there or not. It happens in real time.
Yeah, and that's really amazing because, I mean, obviously the best possible scenario is if somebody wants to show you something, they're there with you. They're showing it to you in the room, and they kind of show you step by step. So this is like the next best thing.
Exactly.
If you can't be with somebody, but you want to know somebody how to do something, and this could be, you know, a problem in mathematics. It could be how to run the cappuccino, or how to fix a car. Whatever video that you can do, you can have this all set up. It has different colored rings, and I said, and you could say, well, only little Gina can. The pink rings are for you, and Bob, the blue rings are for you. I mean, you can actually just discern between the different
Color code it.
So you could even do that if you want
Exactly.
to. But the other amazing thing is that you don't need the internet. See, with a QR code, you have to be connected to the internet to this. So, but you're saying you can do all this and you don't need an internet connection. How is that possible?
And how it does it, and that's a good point, because we cannot assume that our customer, let's suppose it's a developmentally challenged person that's using this to get them through their day, or it's an injured veteran or something. Mm-hmm. No, you cannot assume that you have a good internet connection. And so how the app works is our cloud servers will update that phone or whatever the smart device is, and in the evening or whenever it has at night, and it downloads all of that content, the video and the text and all the information for that person locally onto the device, so it doesn't rely on having an internet connection during the day, because that'd be awful. If you're trying to figure out how to get on a bus and you didn't have internet connection, then you'd be in trouble. So no, if you have to rely on internet connection to get through your day using an app like this, that would be awful, but this does not require it.
That is nice. And
yeah.
So basically, so they the instructions at any time, you know, as long as they downloaded the information either the night before, as long as they've been connected at some point to the internet, all that is fed locally into their phone. Now, obviously, different smartphones and iPads only have so much memory. Is there a limitation to how big a video you can make to this? I mean, obviously, if they're not live.
We can have video as long as you want, but we recommend, for video, is showing somebody how to do something. You know, I know Apple likes to force people to about a minute, but we've got it as big as a 3-minute video if you want. You can add to these, and you can have multiple video you want. But 3 minutes is a pretty long HD video, and you can cover a lot of ground in 3 minutes, and it does speed up the process. But what our web server does do is when you upload that content to our servers, it actually compresses it when it sends it back to your phone. So what you send up there may be, let's say, 100. What gets back to your phone without losing any clarity or any HD is probably 1/10 of that.
Wow. So now,
and that's important.
Now, do these have to be people with whom you have some sort of association to? I mean, because you can't download every video for everybody's done, to everybody's phone. It has to be specific for them. So how do I tell Show Me QR as the creator of this that I want the following people to have this available at any time? I mean, it can't be anonymous, right? It has to be to specific people who subscribe to the service, correct?
Correct. Well, you can choose let's suppose there's 2 apps. There's the Show Me QR Manager app, which is for creating content and generating these codes.
Right.
And then there's the Show Me QR Scanner app, which is what the end user would use. Very simple app.
Right.
So when you're using the Manager app, you can assign a username and password to any one of those codes or a group of codes. So only that certain person can view it. If you want, you can make it public. Well, and anybody with the scanner app can see it too.
Well, let's just say that. Let's say you're making it public. This is where you're losing me, and because I'm following it up to this point. Let's say you're making it public, and maybe tens of thousands of people might want to how to fix their cappuccino machines or something, and they're located all over the country or all over the world for that matter. So are you saying? So how can you push that video to when they're connected, when they have their interconnection? That video to everybody who has it, because these people only have so much memory in videos that are in public. You see what I'm saying? And how do they know? How do you know to whom to set what videos? I guess is what I'm asking.
So every code every Show Me QR code has a unique identifier, and that's really, it sets each one apart. They all have a separate serial number built in them, which is attached to a specific video, for example.
Okay.
So if you have a code that's listed as public, and let's suppose it's on the side of a bus stop, and when you scan it, it'll tell you where that bus is going. And we've designated it as a public code. When you come along and scan that code, it instantly talks to our cloud servers and says, okay, that's a public code, download the video to them now.
But yeah, and that's
so what it does, it actually pushes it down to them.
But they need the internet connection at that point, then, because if they scan that bus and the internet is out at that moment, then they haven't been able to download it previously, like in the description that you met. Then you need the internet connection. That's what I'm getting.
That is correct. You would need it if you're creating a spontaneous one or a public one.
Got it. Okay.
But generally, the focus on these types of things is you've got a certain person with a set of tasks they need to accomplish during the day, and it's more personalized than that. And they have their, they're getting up or getting dressed or getting ready for work or things they're going to be doing at work. That's really how it's intended. Now, you mentioned there is very interesting, because that really falls into the realm of the consumer aspect side of this. So, because it does open doors to have it used as an instruction for general purpose things.
Yeah, like the bus directions. That's perfect. I mean, that can affect thousands of people, and they're on the street and they want to get and they scan the code on the side of the bus, and it'll tell you exactly where it's. That's countless people doing that. So that's not a
exactly.
Okay. All right. Continue.
Yeah, so you have the choice of a public or private with these codes. But you mentioned something earlier about what makes our Show Me QR codes different than a regular QR code. And you're right, a regular QR code, it's that box, the square black box with the QR code. I don't know about you. I don't know anybody anymore who ever scans them. I know it had a marketing purpose at one point. But let me ask you, Craig, do you ever scan those anymore? I can't remember the last time I ever scanned them.
It was a while. I mean, I had never done it before, and I saw it. And at the first time I saw it, I was kind of wondering what it was, and then I realized, and I have to download an app, a QR code app, which I did, and then I thought, something kind of cool, and it basically just took me to a website, and I think it was the Sharper Image at the time, or something similar to that. And it took me to a website, and I was, that's nice, and then but that was I could have done
it. That was in Brookstone the first time we saw it, right?
What was it? Brookstone.
That was Brookstone.
It was Brookstone. Yeah, it was in Brookstone when I tried it. You're right. Thank you. And
you're right. You do it once or twice, and then you kind of had it with it. That was my impression. I was like, okay, I get it. It's sending me to a sales site. I'm done. I'm not doing that again.
Well, I saw somebody wearing one
because it takes effort.
I saw someone wearing one on a T-shirt sometime, and I wonder where it would take me if I scanned that. I decided not to. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the QR code, a regular QR code, it's a public. It's always, as you mentioned, it's a public code. It goes to a predetermined website, and it requires internet connection. That's really what it is, and it's almost always a marketing thing. The Show Me QR code can be public or private, so that's a difference right there. But the difference is it does not go to a website. It displays a specific video and text that applies to that code.
Now, is that video on your servers, or can it be a YouTube video? I mean, what kind of video? Where does the video reside, or can it reside?
It's one that's sitting on our servers. It's one that someone has created. Right. So you create your own custom videos, and those get saved up on our web servers. So you're not attaching a YouTube video or things like that.
Okay. All right. So
it's hosting your videos.
So it's more private than I mean it's more controlled. It's just not on YouTube where anybody can see it.
It is.
Okay. All right.
And someone asked me what's the most. I see people using it. I have to say one of the most common ones. I see people using it around their house, and I've done this myself. When I travel a lot with business, and normally before I landed at the next city, and gotten to the baggage claim, my phone's buzzing, and almost every time it's my daughter's phoning to say, how do we get the movie to play on the TV? How do we get we can hear the movie but we can't see it, or that problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's always the same. And so they can't ask the neighbor because he has a different TV and a different Blu-ray player and a different receiver, different brands, different models. And so what we did is we created just showing Dad, for this example, I showed him how to turn the receiver onto whatever input turn the TV onto whatever input, and put the Blu-ray here and hit that button.
Exactly.
Now it's a custom video that only helps them at that entertainment unit. But they come down, they scan it, it shows them how to do it, and off they go.
It seems to me to be very, very cool. Now, you say there's two components to the Show Me QR. There's the master version, which allows you to create the manager that creates the video itself, and then the scanner. So, what are these things? What's the typical price for the Show Me? Each one's what, 99 cents, and then the manager's what, $2.99 or something like that?
Yeah, well, it's normally we have a sale going on till the end of the promotion runs off December 31st. But the scanner app is 99 cents, and the manager app is only $2.99.
Okay.
And after December 31st, the scanner app goes to $2.99, and the manager app is $9.99.
Okay. All right. So
it's not expensive.
No, not at all. Not at all. So, you mentioned that you created this out of request from the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. So, was that your is that your aha moment, or epiphany, that you decided that you could make this, or was
Well, at the time, they continue to. They'd be our best customer, the VA. They purchase our speech software, our iPad apps, our Talk Tablet app for soldiers that have come back from Afghanistan, Iran, that have had cognitive injuries from IEDs, improvised explosive devices. They have trouble getting through the day. They have permanent brain damage, that sort of thing. They've lost the ability to speak, amongst other things sometimes. And so they've been ordering speech software from us for going on 5 years, I suppose. About 2.5 years ago, during one of these conversations when they were ordering some more speech apps, they asked me if I had something that could help these veterans get through their day. And when we got into the specifics, they said, these young fellows and men and women coming back from the war, they need help from the moment they wake up in the morning till getting dressed, eating, going off to work. They need help at work, getting home, and getting back to bed at the end of the day, every step of the way. And they need that same help every day.
Mm-hmm.
And when they asked me at the time, and I thought they want an app to do that, to be honest, it wasn't an aha moment then. And I just couldn't imagine how a software could do that. It just seemed like it was impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, Craig, it was impossible. But in 2.5 years, the technology has come a long way. We have cloud servers that we've talked about. Our smartphones are smarter than ever. Our internet is. We have the 4G on our phones and on our tablets, and we have video conversion capabilities now. We did not have 2.5 years ago. It's as you know, things move fast. So it was about 1.5 years ago where we decided that was the aha moment. It was more than a year after the request came to do something. We thought, you know what, we can actually do this, but we're going to have to use the internet. We're going to have to use all these different tricks. We're going to have to use QR codes. The technology behind QR codes is really fascinating, but no one's ever really taken advantage of it outside of having you go to a website, which again I think is the most pointless piece of marketing effort ever. But anyway, the technology in those,
no, I was going to say, because Ben just sent me a picture of a teacher who uses the standard QR code to show students in a YouTube video of how to do their math problems, and he did it himself. He should have used something like Show Me QR. I think that would have been a lot better.
Like he made the YouTube video himself, and the QR code would just take the students to the private YouTube video, which something like Show Me QR, that would be perfect for that kind of thing.
That's a perfect example, Ben. And the advantage is, as we all know, if you go to a YouTube video, there's a whole bunch of other videos that do show up there too, which is distracting. And then, as we all do, next thing you know, we're on Facebook and we're doing other things. But the Show Me QR keeps you focused on a specific video. It does. But you're right, it's the same type of thing.
Yeah, he had to do a lot more work and had to go about doing it. And if he had Show Me QR, it would have been a lot easier for him to do this, and but probably been in more control of it too, because each student would just have to have the Show Me QR app, themselves, and then scan it, and then and see how the actually. I think it looked like he was explaining in the test the answer to the test. He had it up on a projector, so then you can actually watch it and do it yourself, which I think. And you can use, again, Show Me QR to do that. Even if you're for tutoring, if you're a tutor and you want to teach specific set of skills, to a specific set of students, and you're doing it over and over and over again. Can you imagine just all you have to do is one time, and then you basically give them the Show Me QR app with the code, and then just kind of pass them out to all of your students, or the people you're tutoring. It would make things a lot easier, wouldn't it? It would make
like solving an equation. You could have a Show Me QR code right at the top that says, if you can't figure out how to do these questions, scan that code. And when you're solving an equation in algebra, there's a couple set of principles, and if you see somebody do it, as we talked about, there's nothing better than having somebody stand beside you and show you how to do it.
Yeah.
And this is the next best thing.
Yeah. And again,
very true.
Anything that you're teaching, I mean, you could be an auto mechanic and or a particular function, you can do it with that as well. I mean, anything really that you can think of that you can shoot a video, a how-to video, you're all set. Gus, listen. Gus,
you are.
I'm sorry. I mean, Gordon. We're up against the break here at the bottom of the hour, so we're going to pause here for some commercial messages, and then we'll be coming right back to you. Okay? You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network. We're talking to GUS Communication Devices. Gordon Harris is here with us, the CEO of the company. We're going to be talking about Talk Tablet next. Stay with us.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No hair removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No hair removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. Their mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website, www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Hi, this is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America of GyroJaw. One of the cleverest little gadgets we've encountered is a little gizmo for vices called GyroJaw. Now, a vice has parallel jaws, and that can make it difficult to clamp things that don't have parallel sides. This thing makes almost any shape compatible. Let's try a word picture. Imagine the letter T in 3D, wearing a choir gown and standing on a bowl. A rounded notch running fore and aft where a neck or head might be. That rounded shape at the bottom, top and bottom being relative, is the head of a carriage bolt embedded in the T, and with those gown drape arches spreading the load from beneath the head of the bolt out to the flat top of the T. Now, with one side of whatever you're working on flush with one jaw of the vise, almost no matter what angle the head of the T may be to that, the other jaw of the vise is making trick to holding rounded objects. For cylinders, compound angles, and shapes that defy vices become a lot easier to hold. Bottom line, Gyro Jaw lets your vise play nice with whatever you want it to hold. This is Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. We have Gordon Harris here, and from Show Me QR, and this series of apps, it's sounds great. I mean, we've gone over a lot of use cases that can show you just how useful it could be, and and theoretically how easy it would be to use. Have you actually heard back from any veterans or anyone who's actually used the app series, and have you heard them say, "This is perfect. This is just what I needed"?
We have. In fact, most of the feedback we're getting is from the vocational rehab specialists that are at the VA and are using what they're for an area of what's called independent living, which is another area that's occupational therapists specialize in. In that way that people can live longer in their homes without having, for example, to go to assistive care home. If they have a little help within their current home, then they can stay long. So it's called independent living, and they're starting to roll out Show Me QR into situations like that to give people a little more prompting so they know how to cook a bowl of soup or use the microwave and that sort of thing.
Okay, so I'll tell you what, I want to, we're at the bottom of the hour, and I want to take a little more time to talk about one of your other products, and I think and actually is your flagship product, which is Talk Tablet. And this is amazing because this is a product that speaks for you. If you cannot speak for whatever reason or impaired in some fashion, Talk Tablet actually communicates by speaking with you. And I've watched the videos and I've watched how it works, and it's incredibly intuitive, and also at the same time it seems to be incredibly flexible. So could you talk a little bit about this? Maybe.
Yeah, Talk Tablet was introduced. It's the latest in our speech apps, but of course this is for the iOS or the Apple platform, Android, and the Kindle platform. It's an app. Mm-hmm. And really, the intended user typically, the big group right now is autism. Mm-hmm. As you know, 1 in 125 children born today have autism, and the app like Talk Tablet is one of the main. There's 3 main apps, and Talk Tablet is one of them that help these children communicate. The other big group is people who have had a stroke. After they've had a stroke, they may not be able to speak, as you know. Sometimes they can't recognize words anymore after a stroke, but they can recognize small pictures that represent words, like I'm thirsty or hungry, or like to go outside. And Talk Tablet comes with a library of over 12,000 communication symbols. That's the name for those pictures that are designed specifically for communication to represent just about every word in the English language. And so you've got people with autism, you've had people with strokes, we've had lots of people with cancer, throat cancer, tongue cancer. Over the years, I'll have to tell you, we've had many, many young men who have cancer in their mouth from chewing tobacco, who are using Talk Tablet to help them speak when they go to work, or just to help them get through the day. So it's for people that have some kind of medical condition where they cannot speak anymore. And it's not an expensive app. It's $79.99. It works on Androids, Apples, or Kindles. And that's been our flagship product now for nearly 3 years now.
And let me ask you this. I should have asked you to have it prepared so we could actually hear an example of it. And that's unfortunate that we don't have it connected up, or I would have asked you. How long does it take for one to become proficient? Let's say to use it to have a fairly, not I'm not going to say normal or smooth, but close to a smooth conversation with talk tablet?
Well, ideally, I mean, literally, from the moment you install it onto your smartphone or tablet, you should be ready to go without any effort at all. It comes with 9 vocabularies that are very, very simple to more elaborate, depending on the person's needs. So the moment it's installed, that person who's had a stroke, for example, can literally start touching on buttons, creating sentences, saying, hi, I love you, that sort of thing. I'm hungry, let's go outside, literally without doing any work at all. And then if they want to start editing those buttons to personalize it for their own family or other things they'd like to say, it's simple, simple, simple to do that. And that's what they can do. They can start with one of the vocabularies that are already there and edit that, or they can create one from scratch, brand new, and they can create their own words and phrases and do it that way. So you can really choose any combination of that.
And it goes beyond. I mean, you create them up. You can create like buttons that are macros that do multiple things that tend to be repetitive. You can have those up in front, and you can have it display different buttons at different points. Now, obviously, you also have the predictive keyboard, which is kind of nice too, which helps. But the idea here is to use as many of these predefined buttons that anyone can set up from beyond that to have a fairly easy conversation when they with this device, with this program actually.
Very true. I mean, we have as many people. One of the most common questions we get around here are, we'll have a family call here that says their grandmother, who's 89, had a stroke, and she can't speak. She seems fine, but she just cannot speak. Now, normally with technology, up until recently, up until the iPads and Androids and things came out, you can't imagine putting a notebook computer in front of someone in that situation who'd never been around one before.
Sure.
But with these tablets today, with a piece of software like Talk Tablet, you can reduce the number of options down to literally one button and grow from there. You might want to have 2 buttons. One says yes, one says no. And then you could branch it, make it a little bigger. As grandma starts getting more comfortable, you can increase her options of things she might want to say. And they pick up on it quickly. They are motivated, and they see very quickly, if I press here and say, I love you, Tom, they get the right response, and they pick up on it very quickly. Very simple. That's the advantage of these tablets. They are very simple.
Yeah. And really, I mean, this is a perfect example of how a technology that seems to be around fairly common today can be used and just be more accessible to more people. And I say accessible, I mean not only that, but through price. And to have one of these speech synthesizers was very expensive, a few short years ago, and very limited to a limited amount of people. And now you have an iPad, you have a smartphone, you can be talking, Yeah,
the technology, and I tell people this on the phone daily. They're very upset. They're phoning. They need help. Their friend or family member can't speak. Something unfortunate has happened with them, and they need speech, or Lou Gehrig's disease. And the good news is the technology today is so accessible and so inexpensive and so much better than it was even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. That's the advantage. There's no reason today why, if you've lost your voice, you can't get right back out there to work and social gatherings and restaurants and just cruise right along, because you will not stick out from the crowd anymore by having a device in your hand. Whereas 10 years ago, if you went to dinner and you pulled out your laptop, people might look at you like, what's that laptop doing on the restaurant table?
Which makes me
but today, we all have technology in our hands.
Yeah, but which makes me wonder, why won't Stephen Hawking use something like this? This is so cool. Why does he still have this big panel in front of him? It's just, it makes you wonder. Is there a story?
Well, there's... I mentioned this earlier that I met that group that looks after Stephen Hawking in Cambridge over in the United Kingdom in 1991. They asked me to come over, and I went over there, and I guess the reality quickly occurred to me that they were not going to use anything with Stephen Hawking that wasn't developed in the United Kingdom. That was became very evident very quickly. Didn't matter how state of the art was that we had. That's great, and they would use that as a model for their development. But there was no way they were going to use something that was not developed there.
Well, I think it's their loss. I mean, you have something I think that's a little narrow-minded of you. You have something that's wonderful, that's easy to use. These technologies should be made available to anyone who wants to use it. And because of some reason, well, that's not you're doing everything you can. So. To make
Correct.
these things
and today that's not the case, because the access to these devices, 10 or 20 years ago, you needed $10,000 to get one of these devices, and you sounded like an awful robot. Whereas today, if you have an iPad in the house and you spend $80 for the software, you have a better speech device than anything we've created that good today.
There you go. So you say it costs about $75, and again, anybody can put it on. It's just an app, right?
It is.
Can you, or is there any kind of an interface, let's say, to take the same talk tablet on my smartphone, on my or my iPad, and interface it with a telephone, so I could speak through a phone? I mean, or have you thought about doing something like that?
There's a couple things you can do. Typically, as far as using the phone and so on, if you have Talk Tablet on a phone, as you and I do, most people, and especially young people, they're not really talking on the phones that much anymore. They're texting. And Talk Tablet has the ability to take those words and phrases from those buttons and so on and send those directly to texting, directly to email, Facebook, or a printer. So they're actually using Talk Tablet straight into the social media or texting and that sort of thing. That's something that's new in the last year. But you're right. That's where things are going.
Yeah, but can you right now? Can you use Talk Tablet on a smartphone to actually speak, and the person who's connected to your phone will actually hear what Talk Tablet is saying?
That because the phones they can't multitask like that. When you're in a phone call, the phone thinks that the speaker can be used as a speakerphone, so it's been set aside for that purpose. So there's no way to push a speech synthesis through your phone and have it come out the receiver's end at the far end, at the other end of the conversation.
That's actually as a software problem. I mean, do you think that we come up with an SDK, or an interface of sort of for a product such as Talk Tablet, so it would work on an iPhone, I mean,
that's a good point, and it's evolving very quickly, as you can imagine, and also too, as the Android platform, it gives us a little more flexibility in what we can do than even on the iOS platform. It just does, and that's the beauty of the iOS.
The Android.
And many people can't afford an iPad, but they can afford an Android tablet at half the price. And so that's where you're seeing, as you know, that's where the movement is now. It seems to be Android tablets.
And if they won't let you do it, or maybe for the iPads or something, have you can because there are hardware products that can attach to it, interfaces, so you could have something which you could either a little suction cup or something go to any standard telephone and have your tablet attached to that, so then you could hear it and then you could also talk with it that way or something.
Well, what you can do, I should mention, in Talk Tablet as it is right now, you can have a two-way verbal conversation from the software with anybody anywhere else in the world in real time if they have Talk Tablet on their phone or their device. And it uses our cloud servers, and it's in real time. They can actually have a two-way conversation. And the reason that is, we put that feature in about a year ago, is because typically a speech device is for someone who's physically in front of you. That's how you communicate to someone who's physically in front of you.
Right.
But what if you've got a child, a 12-year-old, who has autism, whose best friend lives 2 counties over, and he'd like to have a conversation with them at dinner or after dinner sometime? You can do that with Talk Tablet. If they both have Talk Tablet, they can carry on a two-way conversation using those buttons, and it comes out at the other end.
That's nice. It's like a can with 2 strings, but you've got it.
It is. It's exactly what it is.
That is kind of cool. So they do. So they will communicate with each other. That is nice.
They can. And we're trying to open up communication instead of being face to face. in the state of where we are with our technology. And now you can make that outside of the person in front of you. You can make it anywhere in the world in real time.
Did I say can and two strings? I meant two cans and a string. Okay. I got that reversed.
I don't know if that would work. One can and two strings.
Yeah, you're right. No, it's a two cans and a string. That'll do it. It was a little. It's like being a dyslexic, but in a figurative way. You got it backwards.
Yep.
So again, these now the Talk Tablet and Show Me QR, are those your two main products that GUS Communications now makes, or do you have any others that you're working on? Or?
It is. Those are the main two. We've been a developer of speech software for 20-some years, and we started with Windows, and then we wrote software for Palm and Palm Pilots, if you remember those.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went from Palms. We wrote software for Pocket PCs, and then from there, then the iPad came out, or the iOS devices, and that really forever changed the landscape for speech devices. Up until that moment, it was a medical equipment device, and your typical medical company and insurance companies would pay between $7,000 and $12,000 for one of those speech devices. So today, they won't pay for them.
Yeah. So what is Easy Speech Pro software? I mean, it looks there's a couple of those that you have here. What is that?
Easy Speech Pro is kind of a predecessor to Talk Tablet. Talk Tablet has features of Easy Speech Pro and a whole bunch more. That was one of our original smartphone speech apps, and it's effective for people who are still able to read text and understand text and want a quick way to communicate. Now, if you've had a stroke and functionally you can't speak, but you can still read the newspaper, everything's fine that way, but functionally you cannot sound words out. Easy Speech Pro is excellent for that. Mm-hmm. And so you don't need to use symbols that represent words. Those people have aphasia, which is a very common side effect of stroke. And aphasia makes it difficult for you to recognize if the words that represent what you want to say. So you'll need symbols to choose what you'd like to say. If you wanted to say, I'm thirsty, and you had the words right in front of you that said, I'm thirsty, I'm hungry, I would like to go outside, you would not, with aphasia, you would not be able to figure out which of those is saying, I'm thirsty.
Wow.
Without symbol support.
Symbol support, exactly.
So Easy Speech Pro doesn't use symbols, so it helps that group that can still recognize words and text.
The brain is amazing. I mean, there's so many parts. I mean, there's an area of the brain that just helps to recognize faces. And you find people get damaged that portion of the brain, and then they don't recognize you, and it's because the portion of the brain that actually has facial recognition is somehow damaged, and just you wouldn't think that it would be that area specific, but it is. It's amazing what goes the mind.
It really is, and the number of people that are speech disabled, and that's one of those invisible disabilities like autism and a number of other things. There's so many people. I think there's over 2% of the population have some type of speech disorder, but you'd never know it. But you're right.
Yeah,
it does affect that portion of the brain.
Yeah. Ben looks at me sometimes and says, "Who are you again?" Yes.
See, I think it's selective.
Now, if we could create something for Alzheimer's, then we'd have to do a 2-hour show. Because I don't know a family that's not affected by Alzheimer's.
Oh my gosh,
that's a bad one.
That is.
Let's hope down the road that someone comes up with some great way to deal with that.
Well, I think that there's a lot of interesting research going on now with things like that,
it's true.
You have a couple of the things you have also at GUS Communications. You have something like the Reach keyboard. You have you also have something called a Smart Nav head mouse. These are all devices for people who are physically challenged.
Those are, and over the years, we that's not our specialty so much. Companies specialize specifically in that. We actually don't do very much of that. Mm-hmm. We really do focus in on the speech aspect, speech apps,
right,
and supporting people with speech disorders. But sometimes when people have speech disorders, that's not the only issue they have. They do have physical disabilities and sometimes vision as well and different things. So we do like to have a sprinkling of options that people can have to help them use their computers. But as I mentioned, that the use of laptops in this field was almost 100%, and now it's all about tablets. Yeah. Nobody calls here asking for us to sell them a laptop with speech software anymore. I don't think we've had a call for a laptop with speech software in 2 years.
You don't like the communicator.
Everybody wants a tablet.
Yeah, like the communicator, the PC-10 and the PC-12. Those are basically being phased out because it's now the.
They are. There's just no demand for them. The cost for one of those is $2,000 or $3,000, and to be honest, the software on those, even though and we wrote the software. Kudos to our developers, but the software that we have for the tablets is superior.
Yeah,
and it's a fraction of the price, and the platform everybody wants. So that's where all the effort is going.
Yeah,
supporting people with smartphones and tablets.
Sure, and it makes perfect sense, especially with something like this, where it really is very natural to have it on that kind of a device. So, Gordon, if people want more information, if they want to purchase these products, they get it. Where do they go? They go to your website. Where do they find them?
The best place to go is, we have two websites. We have several websites. But if you're interested in Talk Tablet, our speech apps for iOS and Android and Kindles, or if you're dealing with autism in your family, or you've had a stroke, or somebody needs a speech solution, you go to talktablet.com.
Okay.
And no space, it's just talktablet.com. If you're interested in the Show Me QR app, so you want to create your own customized video tutorials and just create a label and pop it on things around the house or at school or in the work environment, that's at showmeqr.com, just like it sounds.
But they can still get to any of it by just going to gusinc.com. And actually, if you go to our website at computeramerica.com and you click on our show notes button right there where it says interact with the show, you'll see today's show, which is the 9th of October. And you'll see right there GUS Communication Devices. You can click on that link. It'll take you right to their home page, and then you can go from there and check out all of the products that GUS Communication Devices makes, and that's up there for all time. So we just have that link available to anyone. Listen, Gordon, really interesting stuff. Thank you so much for being with us here on Computer America tonight. Again, anybody who's physically challenged should definitely check out Talk Tablet. And if you're looking for some easy way to communicate to other people, because you have a particular area of expertise that you want to share, anything you can record or text to, check out Show Me QR. Very inexpensive, very novel, and you can check it out for yourself. Gus, I keep calling you Gus. Gordon, thank you so much for being with us here tonight. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me on. I sincerely appreciate it. And the whole point of this, especially Show Me QR, is to get some people back into work that maybe have been out of the workforce or trying to get in the workforce. So we're really trying to get people back into the workforce, and that's really the motivation behind the Show Me QR app.
Yeah, you should make a Show Me QR that actually runs a video to show you how to run Show Me QR. That would be it.
there is actually at showmeqr.com. There's videos that show you how to create your own codes, and they're all right there.
There it is. Terrific. Gordon, thanks so much for being again with us tonight.
Hey, thank you so much, and you have a great rest of your week. I appreciate it.
And you too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Good night.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. All right, so there you go. Again, GUS Communications, Talk Tablet, Show Me QR. Again, go to the website and you can check it out for yourself at our show notes page at computeramerica.com. It'll take you to gusinc.com. That has all the products that we talked about tonight. Okay, so...
don't you love it when you order things off Amazon or online somewhere and you forget about it, and then it's like Christmas Day all over again? But
Did that happen to you?
Yeah, I forgot that I ordered a case for my iPhone. Really?
Oh, look, let me see it.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you have the video thing running...
That's the one we were talking about last night, isn't that the one?
This is an OtterBox. This is the OtterBox Commuter Series. They have about 5 or 6 of them.
I love the little hole in the back. That looks really slick.
Yeah, that just shows, like, the Apple thing, but, yeah. I mean, it fits it snugly, perfect, good, hard plastic. I mean, it's
And what about the face? What does it have, a shield over the face of the?
No shield. It comes with a screen protector.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can kind of see what's going on there. There, you can't see anything.
No.
Like I put it on myself, and I really can't even tell it's on.
Well, so you actually put it on, and it comes with that too. So it does protect the glass portion of the iPhone too. How much did that set you back?
I think I got it on Amazon for about $15.
Wow, good deal. Very good deal.
Yeah, it's normally about $40, but I mean, I guess with the new 6 and 6 Pluses, they're trying to get rid of their, older models.
Older models. Well, we got some computer news stories coming up in the next hour. What are some of the stories that we're going to be talking about tonight, Ben?
Oddly enough, there's a lot about solar panels going around. So we're going to talk some about solar panels. Also, there's a new 8K television being pushed out.
8K?
8K, not 4K. We're talking 8K here.
No way.
Wow. Yep. Rumors about tablets, including from Lenovo and from Microsoft. Lots of them. Lots of good stories.
Yeah. Also, from Popular Science, a sense of touch recreated for amputees in their prosthetics. That's kind of cool, Yeah,
that's the goal. Also, I don't know if anyone out there has experienced this, but whenever you get your internet bill, you're paying for that $30 a month, but then you get the bill and it says $60 a month. You're like, where'd that extra come from? Well, AT&T lost a lawsuit and has to pay $105 million for exactly that.
Wow.
Cramming your phone bill.
Yeah. Does that mean all our phone bills are going to go up? Going to make us pay?
No. Hopefully that means that they'll stop being so bad at what they do, and and try to make your bills more transparent. Because sometimes you get those charges on there, and you're like, "What's this charge? I don't even understand what that charge is."
Wow. I'm looking at a picture of that 8K TV resolution. Holy mackerel! That looks amazing.
But you don't even have a 4K monitor. How can you appreciate an 8K?
The image just looks amazing, outstanding. Wow. And those of you people who like Snapchat, some bad news. Ads are coming to Snapchat. Yeah. Hey, we got another hour of the Computer America Show on the Boost Radio Network, on the Blog Talk Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we just had GUS Communications on the show. Gordon Harris, the CEO of the company, was very interesting, talking about their Talk tablet that speaks for you, Show Me QR, both products. If you missed that first hour, you can listen to it again. We archive all of our shows. Just go to our Computer America website. Just go to our homepage at computeramerica.com. Right there at the top of the screen on our homepage, you'll see there's an archives. Just click on that. It'll take you to our archives page. You can listen to any of our archives at the Blog Talk Radio Network. We have a link there. We have our RSS feed to which you can subscribe. We also have a link to Apple's iTunes. We've got that all fixed. It works now, and it'll take you to the proper place to listen to all of the Computer America shows. That took some doing, by the way. That was not easy to do, but we got it all running. All the text, everything, the description is all in the proper place now. So you can listen to it there. We also have our video archives there. You can. We have our own YouTube channel, so you can see all of our Computer America shows there as we continue to update the Computer America website to keep fine-tuning it and making it even better and better. So we're in hour 2, and we're going to do some news stories. You ready to go, Ben?
Ready.
All right, here we go. Tonight's Computer and Technology News is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. That's right, you heard me correct. Everything at slimwareutilities.com is completely free. I mean, there's no freemium model. They're not crippled in any way. Use them for 10 days and then pay us the money. No, none of that. Everything at slimwareutilities.com completely free, no obligation. All these programs will speed up, clean, and optimize your Windows system as they say they will. Download them all. Why not? Keep them in your toolbox if you don't use them every day, because you're going to need them eventually. And when you do need them, you're going to be really happy that you did that.
Just popped into my head. It's like you show up to a work site and you have to put in like a new hot water heater, and then you're going through your toolbox and you're like, oh, what's this USB drive for? Oh yeah, that's right, Slimware Utilities. Has all my stuff here. No, I don't need that right now. I need my hammer.
That's right. Yes, or you can use the hard drive to hammer the nail in. That probably wouldn't work too well.
Solid state, they gotta be good for something.
Yeah, exactly. Again, download all the Slimware Utilities products at slimwareutilities.com. You'll be very happy that you did do that, and you'll thank us for it. slimwareutilities.com. So we go to the computer news, and this first story is from Tech Hive. Now, do you use Snapchat that much, Ben?
I do. I just started using it.
You just started using it.
Mm-hmm.
So then you won't notice the difference then when you see ads popping up, because evidently.
Well, right now there are no ads, so yeah, I'd notice.
Well, today, right now, according to this article from Tech Hive, is that as Snapchat looks to pay the bills, evidently the CEO says the messaging app will include advertising, quote unquote, soon. He says the good news is that the ads won't be part of Snapchat's core 10-second messaging service. Instead, they'll be woven into the app's Stories section, which lets users string together multiple messages into a thread that self-destructs after 24 hours. Okay? He says, we're cutting through the new technology around ads to the core of it, which is telling a story. He said it at an event hosted by Vanity Fair. He says, although some brands such as Taco Bell have been tapping into stories already, those unpaid promotions only reach users who willingly follow the brand in question. Now, while he didn't give any of the specific details, BuzzFeed points out that Snapchat added an Our Story feature back in July, allowing users to contribute to a public stream during special events. For instance, Snapchat has made these shared timelines available for college football and Oktoberfest, and they could be fertile ground for advertisers. Snapchat could also just inject ads into private stories, though doing so would probably be more irksome to users. Snapchat is also rumored to be working on a promotional offering called Discovery, which would let users view stories from major media companies, presumably with advertising attached, but it's unclear if this is what Spiegel, who's the CEO of the company, was referring to. Now, why does this matter? Well, duh. Okay, but here it is. Snapchat reportedly turned down a $3 billion acquisition from Facebook last year. They turned down $3 billion from Facebook. Wow. Suggesting that the company has much bigger aspirations beyond being bought by another social network. Still, the startup has yet to launch any revenue-generating efforts that might turn it into a sustainable independent business. I don't know, but if I were Evan Spiegel, the CEO of this company, I would be losing sleep. I'm sorry. What did I do? Honey, what did I do? He offered us $3 billion. Maybe if I go back to him and say, I changed my mind. I don't know.
Oh, you know what? He is 1 year older than I am. He was born in 1990.
All right.
And his net worth right now is $1.5 billion. Craig?
Okay. Well, all right.
He ain't worrying about nothing.
Okay. Well, if you got $1 billion, then yeah. Okay. Well, then I didn't realize that. I thought he was broke. I mean, they said he hasn't figured out how to monetize it. If he hasn't figured out how to monetize it, how is he making all his money?
When big companies like this come up, they go to venture capitalists, and venture capitalists invest money, all that upfront money, hoping that eventually it will start turning a profit and then they'll start getting their money back. That's probably what he did. He probably didn't pay for any of this out of pocket and probably already made a whole bunch of money doing this.
Well, okay.
Now it's time for the investors to get money back, and that's what he's trying to get. He's set for life. He's worth over $1 billion himself.
Okay. Well, then he won't be losing sleep. But if he was, dirt poor, and he turned down a $3 billion acquisition, I don't know how he could look himself in the mirror at that point. But okay.
He is loaded. Don't worry about anyone looking themselves in the mirror.
Okay. Well, anyway, as I said, the startup has yet, because they're still calling it a startup company, Snapchat.
Well, it started in 2012, so I mean.
Well, has yet to launch any revenue-generating efforts that might turn it into a sustainable independent business. That'll have to change, but the focus on stories instead of the core product shows how Snapchat will need to move carefully with ads to avoid driving its users away, because yes, that's the last thing you want to do. All of a sudden you drive users away, and then some other company takes over. I mean, how many other companies are there out there that does things like Snapchat? Ben, there are a couple of them, aren't there?
There are. If there's a popular app out there, there's 100 more looking to do the exact same thing and get a piece of that market. Yeah. It's just whenever one becomes really popular, that's the one that most people go to. Like, it really is a popularity contest. Although, once you start trying to monetize it, I mean, Twitter did a pretty good job of it. Although people nowadays are saying that Twitter is kind of dead. Twitter is simply a marketing and advertising tool. Like, it's no longer a social network. But people still use it, so they have to keep their user base, get some ads in there, and start getting some revenue.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we still use Twitter. I mean, we post our tweets.
How do we use it, though, Craig?
Yeah, but it's on our homepage.
But how do we use it?
What do you mean, how do we use it?
We use it to promote our show.
Yes, of course.
It's not going... Again, Twitter is seen as an advertising, marketing, self-promotion kind of deal. It's not a social network anymore.
We're not tweeting individual. People aren't tweeting each other anymore.
Exactly. It's more brands, get news, follow people that you like. It's a quick, easy way to get news from a bunch of different sources. Mm-hmm. Not so much a social network.
Where Snapchat is still in that category?
Oh yeah, no, Snapchat is totally a social network.
Companies aren't using Snapchat to promote their business?
Well, like they said in the article, Taco Bell is, and it's people have to voluntarily sign up for it. It's not like people are, pushing it. Mm-hmm. They're not saying, hey, Snapchat, we'll pay you $30 million if you can push our brand to your users. That's not happening at all right now. It's just like, Taco Bell has a Snapchat account. You can follow it if you like, and then you can get Snapchats from Taco Bell.
Okay. So how long have you been using a Snapchat?
About a week.
Really? And you like the fact that you decided to use it because what? It's you can chat with people and there's no trail. Is basically it.
I mean, that's the idea of it, but it's for, I mean, it's good in that respect because you can just send stupid photos of yourself, making faces, what you're doing, daily, me driving, going around showing, signs here and there, what I'm doing, and guess what? People only have to look at it for 3 seconds, and then it's gone.
Yeah, it doesn't leave a trail.
It's not so much it doesn't leave a trail. There's no clutter because you only get 3 seconds to look at it and then it's gone. You don't have to worry about it again. You don't have to dig through all your little Snapchats to find what's newest, what's relevant, what's not. You just get anywhere from 1 to 10 seconds to look at it, and then you're on to the next thing.
What if you're not there to look at it? Do you miss it, or does it stay there?
It sits there. It sits there, and I think they have like a maximum time, to look at them. Messages will only stick around for about a week, and then they'll delete themselves. Mm-hmm. But it's whatever the preset time is when you're actually looking at it. Then it deletes itself again.
So you would recommend that Snapchat to friends?
If you have people that use it and you like sending photos and videos and stupid things like that, go for it. It's not it's a pretty pretty easy way to, you know, get
Okay.
photos and videos out there.
Okay. Well, there it is. Snapchat. There you go.
But then again, I know people who don't like doing that kind of thing, and they don't really have many people who use, you know, videos and pictures to communicate. So it's, you know, it probably wouldn't be for them. They probably wouldn't see the point.
Well, you know, when we use SMS text, I'll send you a text message once in a while. I'll embed a picture or something that I want you. It sticks around until you delete it, right?
Yep, and it takes space on your phone too.
Now, if I were to do the same thing with Snapchat, I could send you something. Now, when you look at it, do I get a confirmation that you've looked at what I've sent you at least?
Yep.
See, with messaging, with SMS text messaging, I get a
if it's iPhone it said, you know, message received, message read at, and things like that, and you can turn that off, you can turn that on. With Snapchat, it just has like indicators, and it shows, you know, unread, read, and things like that.
Okay, so I can see. So I can see whether you read it or not. All right.
Yeah.
Now, when you have a Snapchat account, if I get a Snapchat account, do I need to know? What do I need to know about you so I can send you a Snapchat?
All you do is it goes through because you register using your phone number.
Oh.
So every contact in your phone, it scans all of your contact numbers, and it will give you a list of all the Snapchats that are available from your contacts.
Now you have to let it do that. I think most of them comes as it says it wants to look at your contacts. Is it okay to let it? And then if you say no,
it does that.
And if you say no, then it won't be able to look at all that, right? Then it really,
yep.
And it doesn't have as much value, I would think.
Nope, because then you don't have anyone to talk to.
Well, yeah, but I have contacts that I don't necessarily want to talk to. I just keep them in reserve, you know. They're not buddies.
Well, I mean, it doesn't send an invite to all of them. You can choose which ones. It just gives you a list of all of them that have available Snapchats.
You see, because you know what? I subscribe to something called Viber, and I didn't know it was going to do that. And when you subscribe to Viber, it lets everybody in your contact list. Oh, guess now who has Viber? You know, and it's people, and a lot of people wouldn't know to do. You know.
Yeah, that's a brand trying to promote itself, and you know, trying to get as many people looking at, you know, its app as possible. Snapchat is not like that.
Okay, so I'm safe then. It's not going to tell everybody. Oh, guess who just got Snapchat? Now you can Snapchat them.
It won't do that, but you know, if they get Snapchat and they look in their contacts, they're going to see your Snapchat.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Well, all right.
Yep.
Your turn.
My turn. All right. So I have a cold.
You have a cold, really?
Yeah, I just sneezed for the first time about half an hour ago. So it's.
Yeah, I saw Zach's hair blast back when you.
Yeah, it's not. It's hopefully not Ebola. I've not been to. Oh yeah, there was a video that came out today.
Yeah.
Gentleman was on an airplane and he had a sneezing fit, and then after he was done, he spoke at the top of his voice and said, "Don't worry, folks, I'm just on my way back from Africa," and people lost their minds. I mean, they were running away from him. They were pretty much put him like in the corner and weren't going anywhere near him, and like the stewardesses knew that it was a joke. You know, he told everyone that, you know, he had never been to Africa, yada yada yada. It was just a joke.
It was a troll.
But I mean, they still they still called the I forgot where they landed, but they called the CDC.
Yeah.
And they came on with, you know, think ET with the big hazmat suits, the Class A hazmat suits, you know, with the helmets and the hoods and all the gloves and everything, and they took them off and they put them in like a little isolation unit, and they questioned him for about 2 hours and, you know, tested him and everything like that just to make sure he didn't have Ebola, and you know, obviously he did.
And they probably billed him for that too. You know that.
I really don't think they billed him, but
yeah, a lot of times they do. Especially if you think, you know, you say something like that, then and somebody has to pay for that. And there have been cases where people get charged for.
All right. Well, that hadn't come up yet.
I bet you.
But it was a simple joke, and I was actually thinking it. I was like, you know, if I was on an airplane right now, I would sneeze and I would just, you know, scream out, "Don't worry, folks, not Ebola. Don't worry about it."
Don't do that ever.
And you know, this guy, like, to me, it seems like a natural thing. Like, because everyone knows Ebola is not transferred from, air
Body.
to air.
Yeah.
Is not, being transferred like that. But I mean, people were still, running away from him in droves, trying to get away from him. So that was, it was funny to me. It probably wasn't funny to the people on that flight, even though their chance of, being infected were slim to none. But it's just one of those things. All right, so that's different from all the technologies that we're talking about. This next technology story. This one from Yahoo Finance, which we rarely ever visit, but they had a good article about how Elon Musk, who is the CEO of Tesla Motors and SpaceX, and he also started up a solar city, to power his new Tesla production plant out in, I want to say, Nevada. And well, Elon Musk just made it way cheaper to live off solar power.
Okay.
Because that's a dream.
Yeah.
To live off solar power. So outfitting your home with cheap solar power just got a lot easier. Elon Musk's chair Solar City, the biggest name in residential solar power, is now offering loans to allow their customers to own their solar panels for cheaper than their current lease offerings. The loan option, called My Power, is structured like an energy payment in that the customer pays off the loan by paying their energy bill, and it's a win-win because these payments can end up being cheaper than your traditional power bill. And after 30 years, the power is free. Here's how it works. According to the Solar City founder and CEO London Rive, customers take out a 30-year loan on a solar power system at 4.5% interest. Solar City installs and maintains the system at no cost to the user, and the customer pays for the power, and in the process pays off the loans. Typically, loans available for homeowners to fit themselves with solar utilities are usually offered by third-party banks and municipalities in partnership with solar companies and don't take into account how much power is being produced by the system. That means if the system underperforms, the customer loses money. So instead, with Solar City's direct financing, you only pay based on the production of the system, which Solar City will monitor and guarantee against drop in performance, they told Business Insider. We're able to do this because we have a very good understanding of how well your system is going to perform. Energy from the power company typically costs on average 13 cents per kilowatt, ranging as low as 9 cents and as high as 20 cents. The price also increased by 4 to 6% last year, and under the My Power program, customers will pay 16 cents for every kilowatt hour they use in the first year, after which most people get a 30% federal tax credit that drives the cost down to 12 cents. Year after year, the price will increase by 2.9%, less than the usual increase from the typical power company. In the end, this loan program ends up cheaper than their leasing agreement offer. So, 15 cents per kilowatt hour increased by 2.9. At the end of the 30 years, you're pretty much saving 30% in the long run. And it goes on saying, give you a couple more numbers. But I thought, just the whole idea of it was a great way of outfitting homes with solar panels and avoiding that huge upfront cost and still getting solar panels on a lot of houses.
Now, my understanding is a lot of the stuff is subsidized by the government and even by the state that you live in. So
a lot of the government subsidies and tax credits and things like that, they're still around, but they're not as big as they were a couple years ago. And that's probably due to lobbying from companies that don't like solar energy. And they're still out there. Like the article said, the one that you primarily qualify for, you have to have it for a year up and running before you get any tax credit. Like, you don't get a tax credit up front. So, but the idea behind this is, hey, come to Solar City. We'll maintain, and make sure that your solar panels are working at their best. And just instead of paying the power company, you're paying us. It would typically be cheaper. You're running off, you're running off solar panels. You're not running off, any kind of grid, and you're paying us. And after 30 years, you're not paying anyone.
Well, don't you sell the electricity back to them if if it's producing more electricity than you're using? That's what I
So
understand.
now, see, that's where power companies are getting a little hazy, because at first, if you were producing more energy than you were consuming, you feed it back into the system, and then they would pay you, a certain amount for, feeding into the system.
Right.
Now, a couple energy plants have actually gone the other way and said, okay, well, you have more electricity than you're using to your house. That's technically waste, and because that's waste and we're having to deal with it, we're going to charge you for every kilowatt you produce over, or over whatever you are using.
Mm-hmm.
So then, they're trying to hit people for charges for producing more electricity than they're using, which,
That doesn't make sense. Makes no sense to me whatsoever.
well, I mean, if they're losing revenue, and one or two houses here and there isn't that big a deal, but if a quarter of all their customers switch to solar power and they're all feeding back into the system, I mean, they have to either cut down production or take a huge hit and not making any more money and actually having to pay. Their revenue is going down, and they're trying to find ways to keep it up.
Well, obviously, this is something that you need to explore. I always thought that if you put in a solar system, you get it subsidized by either the government or the state that you're in, or actually both. And then when it's in place and you're off the grid and you're making more electricity than you're using, that you can feed that back into the grid, and that you actually get a paycheck at the end of every month rather than a bill. That's how I understood it to work. So.
Well, it's not working like that anymore. When it was first novel and unique and fun and the savior of humanity, that's how it first worked. Where the government was really pushing those subsidies to get solar panels on roofs, but that's not happening anymore, and they really don't care either way. They still have some out there, but they're not as prolific as they used to be. So. Yes, you can get some subsidies. Yes, you can get some, some money back from the government. It's not as good as it used to be, but and also the second part is, sometimes they make you pay for feeding back into the grid.
Obviously, what you got to do is you got to go
look up your local ordinances.
Yeah, I got it, and check out, and contact this company and see what else is available. Absolutely.
But I thought it was, especially from Elon Musk, who I hate to build him up, but I mean, between SpaceX, between Tesla, and now between SolarCity, he's really investing in technology for the future. That's covering electric cars, solar panel houses, and space exploration. On the consumer side, it's great. It's great that people can now get solar panels for their homes, and after 30 years, it's free.
I would like to think that there must be some way to getting it free now. I heard that there are ways of getting it free now.
What?
And get off the grid and getting it subsidized by the local government. So
no.
All right. Well,
if anything, from what I heard, the cost to put it in, and then the cost, like the cost to pay the proper people who have the proper training and things like that, and then the cost of the solar panel themselves, you're actually paying more currently than what they would be making you back over 10 years. And especially if you're the one who has to maintain them, because you have to go make sure they're free of dust, debris, anything that reduces their efficiency. You have to go maintain them. So it's not it's for the past couple of years, it's not as great as it's been made out to be.
Well, maybe if you have a company that does the maintain it for you, so that would be kind of interesting. Okay. This next story from Wired Magazine: iOS 8 adoption is slow because it's a quote-unquote nerd release. Okay. Over the last few years, iPhone and iPad users have been quick to adopt the latest version of Apple's mobile operating system, but iOS 8 seems to be playing out differently, a lot differently. According to multiple sources, iOS 8 downloads have basically flatlined. Mixed panel reports iOS 8 users currently make up 45% of total iOS users, while iOS 7 users still make up 50%. Apple's own App Store visit numbers show similar statistics. As of October the 5th, 47% of iOS users are on iOS 8 and 47% are on. Wow. With the launches of iOS 6 and iOS 7, the numbers were closer to 60 or 70% at that point. Okay. Users could be holding off on updating for a number of reasons, like reported or expected performance issues. For those with older iOS devices, this can be a wise move. As of the 23rd of September, data from Mobile App Performance Manager criticism shows the crash rate on iOS 8 was 64.5% higher than iOS 7.1. As of October the 8th, the iOS 8 crash rate still sits above 3%. I have not had my crash once, by the way. And that rate skews higher on older devices like iPhone 5. Historically, new iOS versions can end up hobbling older systems by adding new features with more bugs. As the device is pushed into its processing limits, performance is diminished. And of course, this botched release of iOS 8.0.1, yeah, I didn't update to that one, may have nudged would-be early adopters away from downloading ASAP. You know, I almost did, but I didn't. When the iOS 8.0.2 came, I just updated. I didn't do 8.0.1 because I think like the next day or two, Apple pulled it, and I hadn't put my phone into the dock to update it. There's also the fact that iOS 8 is a big download, requiring about 6 gigs of space. If you only have a 16 gig device, well, you may have to free up some space before you even think about updating. But slower iOS 8 adoption could also be rooted in the kind of update Apple pushed out this time.
Now, Craig, have you tried texting on the iPhone since the 8 upgrade?
Yeah, I texted you the other day. Remember? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that predictive texting thing. You know,
yeah.
it shows up 3 words, and you can press it, and then it kind of tries to make a sentence for you.
Predictive keyboard. Yes, it's very accurate. Why?
They changed that with 8.0.2, didn't they?
I don't think so. I mean, I still have it on there. I'll tell you
because
what.
You used to be able to minimize it, but now you can't.
No, it's always there. You can't make it go away. At least I don't think you can.
When it first came out, you were able to minimize it.
Well, all right. Listen, you're listening to Computer America News Tips Bulletin Review coming up. We'll be right back.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 120,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy and major car companies filing for bankruptcy, Cover America Auto Care has announced revolutionary, inexpensive mechanical breakdown coverage that is now available to the general public to save consumers thousands on auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for drivers to call who own a vehicle that is less than 10 years old for a free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number is 800-483-2514. Drivers who are covered with this auto protection will not have to pay for a covered repair again. This is the auto coverage now sweeping across America at a fraction of what dealerships charge and is now available to the public by calling today. The number to call is 800-483-2514. 800-483-2514. That's 800-483-2514.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Hello. It's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, it's Dr. Doormat. Of the 2 sizes and 4 colors they offer, we got in the house size, 24 by 36 inches. Their apartment size is 18 by 24 inches. Brown, Dr. Doormat, to check out some extraordinary claims. It has a spiky rubber bottom and a polypropylene top with knobby little tufts, into which they infused an antimicrobial agent. So wiping your shoes at least twice removes most of the gunk on their undersides. A look can confirm that, but what would you use to check for microbes? There is something, if you think about it, as plain as the nose. We used a daring sniff test, swapping left and right shoes from different pairs just before wiping at this and another mat after walking through some dead leaf-infused mud. We think there was less stink after wiping here. We're just happier the mud wasn't deep enough to go up to the sides. Bottom line, no matter how much you watch your step, you'll be happy that Dr. Doormat is in when you arrive. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 33 minutes past the hour. Thank you, Marty Winston, again for another great News Tip Bulletin Review. We are doing computer and technology news, brought to you by Slimmer Utilities. And it's Craig's turn, and we're talking about the iOS 8 and the adoption and how it's not getting as much traction as some of the older updates have been getting.
During the break, I texted you a couple of things to see if I could make the keyboard go away, and I don't see anything. I mean, the keyboard is there, and
it was not just the keyboard. It was the predictive keyboard texting,
yeah.
And you used to be able to kind of slide that down, and you could hide that completely.
No, I can't. I'm doing it right now.
You could in 8.0, and I noticed in 8.0.2 you couldn't anymore, so they changed it just in those 2 patches.
Yeah, I'm trying it again right now here.
I know you can't. I just said you can't. Why are you trying to prove something I just said?
I just wanted to confirm it. Nope, I can't make it go away. Yeah, okay. So let me put that back. And so anyway, we're doing this story here from Wire Magazine. iOS adoption is slow because it's a nerd release, and basically they're saying. They're trying to figure out why as many people haven't adapted OS 8, and they've said, oh, it's a bigger download, and if you have a 16 gig phone, it's going to take a lot more room. But bottom line, they're saying it's not for everyone. He says we said, can you think of any non-power user feature that it's worth upgrading for? HomeKit, HealthKit are useless until all the accessory makers get on board. Extensions and third-party keyboards are great, but a casual user isn't going to understand or care about them. The iCloud photo library will be huge, but it's in beta and it is switched off by default. Another key feature, continuity, doesn't ship until iOS 10 Yosemite does in October. Continuity lets you hand off tasks and pick them right back up where you left off on your iOS or Mac device. Apple Pay, it won't go online until October. So all these things that it's going to have, evidently, it's not ready. Basically, that's what the story's saying. The average iOS user is aware of these features and the release timeline. And he says, well, maybe they're not familiar with the release timeline. He says, a good number don't pay attention to tech news at all, and were seriously confused when U2's new album magically appeared on their iPhone. I still haven't seen that happen on mine. I don't have U2's album. So perhaps this version features just aren't as eye-catching as the changes Apple made to iOS last year. So there it is. So they're saying iOS is not being adopted at this point by a lot of people.
Which isn't bad.
Oh, well, you have iOS 8, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't seem thrilled.
No. It's a thing. All
right.
All right, so that's that story. Kind of boring. There's another story here. This one from Popular Science, and it's again about solar panels.
Okay. Well, really hitting the solar panels here. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I said there was a lot about solar panels coming up, and this one from Popular Science, and the direction of your rooftop solar panels benefit your wallet more than the environment, according to multiple energy officials interviewed by the New York Times. Virtually all homes point their solar panels south, where they can best capture rays from the sun. From the sun when it rises in the southeast and sets in the southwest. That way, residents collect the most power throughout the day, which they can use in their own homes or sell to the grid if they have any power left over.
That's
But
what
critics say it's not everywhere, trust me. Anyways, but critics say that the panels would actually do more good facing west, where they could capture sunlight during the midday and afternoon when energy is most needed. While south-facing solar panels are most profitable for panel owners, they actually raise the demand for other power sources that they simultaneously put out of business. Relying on morning and evening sunlight means that the solar panels aren't producing as much as they could in the middle of the day, when communities need the bulk of their power. Therefore, homes with solar panels continue to rely on power sources to support them during the middle of the day. But here's where things get funky. Plants that depend on selling electricity around the clock suffer because all solar panels are producing energy during the same non-peak hours. Nuclear power plant sources often drive them out of business, according to the Times. That leaves natural gas power plants, which are cheaper and and have more flexibility in terms of production, to pick up the slack during the middle of the day. So in essence, homeowners who install rooftop solar panels to promote sustainable energy are actually bolstering the natural gas industry. Probably not what they had in mind.
That's not good.
So yeah, I mean the main thrust of that was, sure, pointing them south, you're getting the most bang for your buck. But if you were to face them west, that's when companies need the bulk of their electricity, because that's when people are running air conditioning units, and during the middle of the day when it's hottest, between that 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. area, that 6-hour window, that's when most cities need the most of their electricity. And if they're pointing south, that's not the optimal direction to be pointing for producing energy.
Wow. Well, maybe you can put them on, on a rotational basis. If you have
most people don't want some kind of solar array sitting on top of their house. I mean, I've heard people complain about a 3-foot satellite dish. Could you imagine somewhere around a 30 to 40-foot solar array sitting on someone's house?
Well,
they would complain until the sun went down.
If you are in an obscure place and you don't have to worry about neighbors, then it wouldn't matter, would it?
Yeah, and luckily, a whole 8% of Americans live in rural communities. So, congratulations, 8% of people. Craig has a point for you.
Yes, and you can put it on a rotating base, so you can just follow the sun as it goes along.
But as for everyone else who lives in society, maybe you don't want the solar array on your house.
Okay. Well, that's again. Obviously, depending on where you are and and what state you're in, obviously you need to do some checking and find out what your options are, and then go from there.
Yep.
Okay.
Next door.
Yes. Now, this according to GigaOhm, PCs are making a comeback in Europe and the U.S. Well, we're talking about this. Maybe it's too early to write off the PC just yet. A year ago, the PC market was a clear horror show, with shipments plummeting as consumers embraced the convenience of tablets. Then tablet sales slowed, and they're still expected to outstrip the sales of PCs in 2015. But the latest figures from Gartner suggest that PC shipments are actually doing quite well again, at least in developed markets. Now, we talked to Marty Winston about this last night, and he agreed. Today, the analyst firm said PC shipments totaled 79.4 million units in the third quarter of this year. Okay, and the numbers continue. It's worth noting that we're talking about x86-based PCs here, including all x86-based tablets running Windows 8, but not including other tablets or Chromebooks. Also, shipments are in sales, though they are a good indicator of popularity. And they go, so this is a lot of numbers and figures here. I think basically this is just confirming, what we said last night. Lenovo, of course, is still number one, followed closely by HP. And Dell has and then Acer, and then Asus. That's basically with everybody else going down from that point. Of course, Sony has sold off its PC business altogether, and Samsung withdrew from the European PC market. Toshiba drastically scaled back its consumer PC operations as well. So there it is. So basically, just a research article saying that what we kind of confirmed last night, that that PCs are gaining more in popularity, and that's pretty much it.
All right.
Okay. That one didn't have meat as I thought. That didn't have as much meat as I thought, but okay.
No, not quite. We have time for about 2 more stories. We could do the one about the prosthetics with that help amputees, and they have sense of touch. But instead, I'm going to do this one about AT&T because that always gets people riled up, and why not? Let's make some people mad.
Okay.
This one from Maxim PC, Paul Lilly. AT&T agrees to pay $105 million to settle cramming lawsuit.
Cramming.
And that's, cramming. So AT&T this week agreed to pay out $105 million in fines and refunds to settle mobile cramming charges against the company. According to the Federal Trade Commission, the settlement is the largest ever with a prominent mobile phone carrier. As part of the settlement, AT&T will pay the Federal Trade Commission $80 million to provide refunds to customers, $20 million in penalties, and $5 million in penalty to the Federal Communications Commission. They have a quote here. I am very pleased that the settlement will put tens of millions of dollars back into the pockets of consumers harmed by AT&T's cramming of its mobile carriers. This case underscores the important fact that basic consumer protection, including that consumers should not be billed for charges they did not authorize, are fully applicable in the mobile environment.
You'll explain what cramming is. You'll explain what cramming is.
Sure. Cramming is the practice of billing customers for unauthorized third-party charges. These come in many forms, including ringtone charges, text messages containing love tips or horoscopes, and other types of services of information that may not have signed up to receive. I was actually did this once. I got a ringtone.
Yeah.
It was I think it was Garth Brooks, and it was Dollar.
All right.
If anyone remembers that song, it was popular back in the day. And I signed up for a service. I got the song, and I put it on my phone. And then Craig comes in, a month or 2 later, and he's like, Ben, why are we paying $15 a month for one song that you can use as a ringtone? And I'm like, oops, my bad. So and for one little ringtone 20-second clip, $15 a month, obviously not what you want to pay for.
No.
So it's charges like that AT&T does not squish. They just kind of ignore it and charge people for it. And of course, AT&T, for providing that service, will get a cut of that money, which they enjoy. So during its investigation, the FTC found that AT&T had received very high volumes of consumer complaints that had to do with the unauthorized third-party charges, more than 1.3 million calls in 2011 alone. In some cases, the cramming charges accounted for 40% of the bill.
Wow.
That's a lot of money.
Yes, it is.
So making the matter worse, AT&T's bill structure made it difficult to know that third-party charges were being placed. On the first page of printed bills and summary section of online bills, consumers would only see the total amount due and the due date. In other pages, the fees would be listed simply as AT&T monthly subscriptions, which made it seem like charges were part of services provided by AT&T. They were not easily parsed out.
Very sneaky.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So, just poor business practices on the part of AT&T, and not to mention poor business practices on the part of the services that, send you horoscopes or send you, the lottery numbers from last night. Services like that charge you $5, $10 a month. If you accidentally sign up for a lot of those and you don't realize what you're doing, like they said, sometimes 40% of the bill was just those fluff charges.
Wow. You have to You have to look.
Cell phones are an easy are something that people put money into, and it's an easy way to trick people out of their money. So it's probably in your best interest to keep an eye on what you buy, what you purchase, and really, go over your bill. And if you aren't sure about something, even if it's AT&T, call in and ask, what is this? Why is this? Get rid of this.
Absolutely, I agree. You have to question everything. You really, and the bill makes it really difficult to oh, they keep saying, oh, here's our new and improved bill. It makes things easier to see, and yet it doesn't seem to ever be that way.
It rarely is. These bills are just. Sometimes I think they're purposely confusing. There are ways to make them clear, concise. What you're paying for, what this bill is, and yet there's always that random, $4.99 charge that you just really don't know what it's about.
Mm. They're asking us to change our plan again too.
Really?
Yeah.
They're asking you or telling you?
They're suggesting it. They're suggesting it.
Like they're standing behind you with a blackjack, and they're saying you should really do this.
Yeah. Might have to. Hey, is your version of Google saying that it needs to be upgraded right now? I'm getting a thing that's saying that it needs to be upgraded.
No, not at all.
Wow. Well, mine's hammering at me, but I don't want to upgrade now because if we do, we'll just lose our visual channel, which we don't want to do probably.
That's weird.
Yeah, mine's saying the app is using new features from a newer version of the Google Talk plugin and saying upgrade now. I'm not going to do that because chances are usually when you upgrade and you're using it, guess what happens? You get disconnected. So
yep.
You don't want to do that. So moving on, this story from Tech Hive. We kind of teased it. They're saying forget 4K. Sharp's already pushing TVs with 8K resolution. So if you aren't ready, if you aren't ready for the 4K TVs yet, you could wait a few more years for the next thing, 8K. Rave comments were heard in front of Sharp's latest prototype 8K display at the Creative Electronics Expo outside of Tokyo this week. They have these immense displays with this incredible thing. The point is, there's no infrastructure to support these things. No one is broadcasting in 8K. No one's barely broadcasting in 4K. I think DirecTV is now doing some 4K test channels.
Okay, wait. If we're breaking it down here, this story that you're reading actually piggybacks off another story that is by PC World, and by the way, Tech Hive is the combination between PC World and Mac World. They kind of share content, and some of the what you're talking about right now is the amount of data you need to stream per second to get an 8K display, and it's worth noting that 8K is actually 16 times that of standard HD, which you're probably using right now, and it's 4 times as much data than a 4K TV uses. Just because it's twice the resolution doesn't mean that just means it's using 4 times the data. And 4 times that means that uncompressed super high vision signal, which the 8K television runs off of, uses about 24 gigabits per second.
There's nothing out there that supports this. Even Blu-ray is nowhere near this. They're coming out with 4K. Was it 4K Blu-ray? They're starting to come out with, or they're going to be coming out with. So the point is,
this thing is running at 7,680 pixels by 4,320 pixels, which is about equivalent to a 32 megapixel photo. But that's, of course, streaming a television program.
Wow.
And again, this isn't for today. It's not for tomorrow. It's not for next year. It's not for the year after. It's not for 3 years after that. Japan says that people will be watching on 8K televisions by the time the Olympics are held in Japan in 2020. So that's their deadline. 4K television is for now, is for next year, is for the year after. 8K television, they're hoping is going to be, is going to have a strong foothold by the year 2020, which is 6 years down the road.
Yeah, they're saying regular broadcasting of 8K signals could begin in 2018.
Yep.
Wow.
So again, it's not that 8K. My God, 4K is useless. Don't even worry about 4K anymore. Just try to get to 8K as fast as you can. No, it's 4K is for today, for tomorrow, for next year, for the year after. 8K is for down the road. And while you can kind of see where the technology is heading, they have a sample already made up. And of course, that one television that they're showing off in 8K, that probably costs 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 times what a 4K television does, and those are expensive. So it's it looks beautiful, and it probably is going to be the next thing after 4K, but it doesn't mean it's going to replace 4K already.
Where's it going to stop, Ben? We're going to have
Nowhere.
16K?
Nowhere.
Then we're going to have 16K, and 32K. I mean, how high are they going to go before they stop?
I'm sure. You can quote me on this on 10, 9, 14. Right now, I can tell you within 2 years. No, probably within a year, we're going to be hearing about 10K resolution. It doesn't stop anywhere. It's just how fast the technology can be created. I mean, you want as much resolution as you can get, because the better the quality of the display, the better the quality of whatever you're watching is. And there is never a point where the resolution is good enough.
It'll just get a bit more and more and more. It'll never stop.
It will never stop until it is absolutely lifelike. Until you can zoom in with a with an electron microscope, and you still can't see pixelation. The resolution is never enough.
Infinite K.
Yep. That's the goal. As soon as you can't tell the difference between what is real and what isn't through a display, there will never be it's good enough. They'll never stop and say, okay, folks, we're at 20K resolution. We're good. We don't need any more. That will never happen.
Well, I could see that with computers. That it'll never be fast enough. They'll never, the processes will be faster and faster and faster.
Processes will never be fast enough. Graphics cards will never be powerful enough. Resolution will never be, high enough. All these, technology does not cap off whenever you think, oh, that's enough, we're good. It never caps off. It always keeps increasing.
Forever.
Forever.
Okay.
You know what? You can come back to me in forever and you can prove me wrong, but until then, technology will always increase.
Is that how you feel? You feel that about that yourself? I mean, yeah. I mean, you just want to see.
Why would it stop? Technology is always getting powerful, more efficient, and smaller. Why would that trend ever stop?
Battery life.
It's getting more efficient. Why? Well, okay.
All right. Well. What can I say?
It sounds like you don't agree that technology.
I just thought, I used to think that that's what the idea behind the Retina display, when your eyes can't perceive any difference or any the pixels.
Okay, technically, my phone has a Retina display. If I look really close at it, I can see pixels.
Okay.
I mean, Retina is Retina, but resolution can always get better.
But how do you use your phone like this? I mean,
Just because, I can doesn't mean I do. And then if I want to zoom in on photos, the larger I can zoom in, blow up, make them bigger, the better.
Okay.
Cameras will get more powerful. Just technology, but that's the great thing about technology. There is no, that's good enough. Nothing's ever good enough.
Okay. Well, there you have it. It's a good prediction, I guess, and I can't argue against it. I guess it's true with anything in technology. Things can be faster, they can be big, they can be more powerful.
Every time someone in the past has said, 32 megabytes is all you're ever going to need. 1 megabyte's all you're ever going to need. You're only going to need, 6 megabits a second internet speed. every time someone has set a cap, if you wait 2 to 3 years, they just stuck their foot in their mouth. They've been wrong.
Mm-hmm.
No one's ever correctly predicted the cap to technology.
No, they haven't. They have not. Well, folks, there were a lot of other good stories that we didn't get to tonight. Just briefly here from Ars Technica, Amazon is opening stores with the same-day delivery option and pickup of online orders, and it's going to happen. Guess where? Manhattan, New York, which makes sense. It's the Amazon's first brick-and-mortar store in Manhattan, and they're going to offer same-day delivery with that, and that's great. Now, I think it's only going to be in major metropolitan areas, but I guess that's one of the advantages of living in a major metropolitan area. Of course, you can't have solar panels that rotate because you're living in a city.
No, but you can get those shoes you ordered online same day.
Yes, you can. Yeah, exactly. So, listen, we're pretty much out of time. Again, I want to thank our guest, Gordon from GUS Communications in the first hour for being with us. It was a lot of fun. Now, coming up tomorrow night,
90 seconds.
It's Friday night, and we're going to have Mr. Ralph Bond is going to be joining us here. He is with the Autodesk Communication team. Ralph, he has some really cool stories that he's found for us. He comes on for both hours here on the Computer America show, and he's going to be talking about a lot of different things. Some of the stories include. I misplaced it here.
60 seconds.
The drones that you can wear on your wrist.
I saw that. That thing's awesome.
Yeah. And also an anti-smuggling robot.
An anti-snuggling robot? What?
Anti-smuggling?
Who doesn't enjoy a good snuggle?
No, smuggling. Not
oh, okay.
Like
that makes more sense.
Smuggling robot. Yes, exactly. And so also an algae-based cloth that when you have it in your clothes, it makes your clothes odor-free. You don't have to wash them anymore. So these stories and more are all coming up tomorrow night, and we hope that you'll be with us here tomorrow night. So until then, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow night.
10 seconds.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining Google's Hangouts.
You need to fix that Hangout thing.
I'm going to fix that right now. I'm going to click Upgrade now and just see Install Plugin, and hopefully, maybe I should close it. Maybe I should close it first. I don't want to lose it, so I'm going to close it, and then we'll start.
Oh my God! You could have closed it this entire time. We couldn't have been listening to that dinging noise for 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you heard it too, huh?
Yes.